Hello my crafty friends, Corinne here from Corinne Crafts. I hope you are doing well. Have you completed all of your Christmas projects yet? I think this one is going to be my last Christmas project for 2025. I think we need to stop doing Christmas now and get on to just regular ones that you're going to need for the new year. So yes, this one's inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, but I wanted to show you how you can take twine that is not the right colour and make it your own, how you can take something and twist it to make it work. Lots of different tips and techniques coming up for you in this video. And again, this is a project that is going to work outside of Christmas too. So please carry on watching and see how I made this gorgeous card. We all need inspiration from time to time, and this is a project that I'm making based on something that I saw on Pinterest. So not claiming the original ideas my own, but I've sort of made it my own and done a few twists on it and changed it up to be my own. So the first thing I wanted some white textured cardstock. So I found some white linen cardstock. Now I don't have a lot of white linen cardstock. I had a sheet of 12 by 12. So I'm using that. Makes it quite hard to do your stamping on because it's textured. So I did have to use a stamping platform so that I could stamp and stamp and stamp to get the good layer. Now this card topper is one that you see me, the size you see me do all the time, 4.5 by 6 inches. It's one of my go-to standard ones, and I do it like that so that I can take a 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 card, trim off 1.5 inches, and I've got the perfect base. And you can see on here I've also trimmed out, I put my green matte layer on, and I've trimmed out the centre because this is a really lovely green and I want to know that I can be able to use it again. Now I am not actually going to make the accessories using the green. I'm going to make them using some bits of the white cardstock, and you'll see why in a minute. It's because I want to be able to do grades of the colour. Now if I cut it out of this piece of green, everything that I cut out would be solid green, and I didn't want that. I wanted grades or shades of green, so this is why I've got it. So I've already stuck that on. That's nice and firm, so I can put that to one side. So that's going there, and then we need to put the bit on here. So you've already seen that I've cut some strips of white out of the linen. So it was a 12 by 12 sheet, no set thickness, 3/4 inch. An inch seems to work quite well on a card of this size. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off. I'm going to put this onto here roughly, and then I'm just going to cut a bit just like that. Now don't worry about that because I'll put it that way round, so I've still got a straight edge down at the bottom. And I'm going to cut a few strips like that. Let's move that out of the way. So I'm going to put that onto my mat, and then I'm going to find my green inks, and I've got a couple of green inks here. I have got Pine Tree and Grasshopper, and I'm going to use these two together. Let me just make sure I put the lids on the right way. Yes, I have. So Grasshopper is slightly paler, so remember that's my cut end, so I'm going to use this end, and I'm just going to blend it up. Now can you see why I wanted to use textured card? Because I get this beautiful effect, and then I just blend it out to a lot paler. I'm going to go in with the Pine Tree, and I'm just going to go over the end to darken it up a little bit. There we go. Then if you want to, just blend it out and it'll work. Now, I've done a few, so these ones are looking a little bit paler. They've dried, so I can just add in a little bit more ink just to make them all roughly the same, because obviously they've gone a little bit paler as they dry, which often is the way with your inks. It will often tone down, so just let that blend away. I don't want them all to be the same, so you can add on a little bit more ink and take it away as you feel appropriate. Oh, I did need to blend that a little bit. Right, so those are just like that. So I'm going to push that to one side for a minute, and then I'm going to bring in a spare piece of card. So what I'm going to do is I've got two dies, just two random dies from my die collection. This one's a Fleurs one, and I honestly don't know where that one is from. It was in my collection. I use these quite a lot, and I'm just going to cut these out using my mini trimmer. There we go. Right, So let's put those onto here, and they work. I can fit them in quite nicely together, and you'll see why in a minute, why I wanted to do them out of white. So I'm going to put those on like that. I'm going to tape them down so that they don't accidentally cross over, because that's the only thing about doing 2 dies at the same time. You need to make sure the dies don't go over. There's a lot of pressure in those die cutting machines. Let's move that out of the way. And so you don't want dies to overlap. And that's it. That's probably the most common way that you're going to damage your dies. So we can put that on there. And then this has cut. Has it cut all the way? Oh, just that one wants to just needs just a little bit more. It's because I'm using a small die cutting machine. Let me just trim this off. Don't worry about having to recut. I never get hung up about recutting my dies. If it needs to be recut, it needs to be recut. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of twizzle, and I'm also going to put it on slight diagonal. Just because there was 2 different brands of dies there. They could have been very slightly different heights, so you know, one was actually stopping the other from getting the full pressure. You never know. And then, oh look, that's perfect now. It just didn't like the 2 together, so that one has cut out. Use my pokey tool and get that out. Let's move this, keep moving the scissors out of the way. Oh yeah, and even the little bits pop out. Look, I like that. It's quite a sparse sprig, isn't it? And then this one, it's much more compact, but a lot more sort of detailed. So we can do that. And then from there, I'm just going to add the ink. Now, this is why you'll see why I didn't want to use solid cardstock. For one, you could do this with it, but also we're going to do a very similar effect with this. So let's get these and go in with my light colour. Just to the light to the top, and darker at the tip, and I just want it quite light at the top, and then with the pine tree really darken it up. Can you see I can get that sort of ombre effect, which obviously you're going to struggle to get with solid cardstock. So I've got these ones, and again, these ones have just faded a little bit with the ink drying, so I can just go in and add a bit more. I'm not going to use 5, but I just wanted to show you how I've done them. And then we can do a bit more, just adding in that darker colour at the tips, and then we can see what we want to include. Actually, I want to just get paler colour on here. I've gone a little bit too pale. Oh, that should be fine. That should be fine. Let's move those out of the way. So what I've got now is I've actually got 4, so I can pick which ones I like. But I like having one that's a little bit wider, and I've got 5 of those, which I won't need all of. So the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make some twine to go round, but I wanted to be able to put some beads on. Collected these beads. I used to collect them from all sorts of places. So the green I wanted to use was this, but this and these are not compatible. They just don't work. I tried decreasing the amount of threads on here, but then the thread just broke down. So the only one I could get it through was here, and the only way I could get it through was get my pokey tool and just push through. So that's just making that hole a little bit bigger and go through from the other side. There we go. Still wouldn't get the larger thread through. So what I did was I put this thread through, so it went through, and then tied it in a knot. But as you can see, it's such the wrong green. It is so not the right colour. Let me just tie a knot in there. Can you see? I'm going to cut a piece off. Let's just get rid of all of it. Can you see I'm using this green, and this is just, it's not right. It really isn't. So I'm going to bring my mat back in, and all I did was I got my brush. I'm going to get my darker green. Just because you ink up papers, don't think you can't ink up other things. So all I'm going to do, move the bead up, and then just ink and just give it a roll so that I'm doing all sides. Then I'm going to turn it down, and then I'm just going to ink on this end. So I've started with green so that I haven't got as far to transform, and then I just go in with my ink, just making sure that you've done all sides. There we go. And that now we've gone from that bright green to a darker green, and I'll show you, this is what I've done here. So I've done purposely different lengths, and I've done a bow, but I've got a much darker green. Took a couple of goes, but as you can see, that now looks much better on there than that does, in my opinion. So I've made that. So what I want to do, I'm going to bring this back in, and I'm going to get some of these. Now, because my leaves go that way, I think I'm going to build to the right. Normally I would build to the left, so this is feeling a little bit alien, but I think I'm going to build to the right, and I'm going to pop this on here. Don't worry about that going over the top. So how am I going to do that? Glue, I think. And I love the contrast of the colours. Really works. So don't think I need it to go that far. And let's put this one on like that. There we go. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Then I'm going to get another one. Which one shall I do next? Let's have that one, and then we can come in onto here. Put that one on. I'm going to do them all flat. I'm not going to use raise them or anything. You could use tape pens for this. You could use your, you know, regular flat, your dry glues, like your paper, you know, your tapes and things like that. That would work really well. This one needs to just be a little bit darker. Oh, there we go. And then I can put that one over the top, and so you see the inks finish at different heights, and then we can add this one in, and this one's going to be the highest one, and then we can put that one on just like that. There we go. Right, so I'm going to just give them a little bit of a press down, just a nice burnish like that. Then I'm going to bring in my bows. So this card, as I'm making it, I've written a Merry Christmas sentiment on, but oh my goodness me, it's going to look good. You could change this very slightly and it would look lovely for so many seasons, wouldn't it? And I'm going to put that like that. Now, I don't think I need any more. I think any more it's going to start to get a little bit OTT. So how am I going to see? As always, I don't think I want to stick down the far end. So I'm going to get this. I'm just going to put a bit of glue across here. That's a lot of glue, Corinne, but never mind. So I've got a bit of glue there. And I'm just going to put that, not right to the very top. There. I think it works for not being right to the top. There we go. And look at that. Look at that. I love how you've got that freedom and that movement. So what I want to do, so I've now got some regular green twine. I think I had a piece cut off. I did. There we go. I had a piece cut off from when I was working earlier. I put some red liner on the back. Oh, I tell you what I should do first. Let's cut these excess bits off. So it's always easier to cut them off afterwards. Cut them too long, cut them off afterwards. Just using that as a guide. And then that looks so much neater than trying to match them up. Except that is not straight. Let's see if I can get that a little bit. There we go. Much better. Right, let's take these off now. I've really given them a good burnish, so that should come off really easily. And then I want this twine to come round about here. So let's put that on there. I don't want it to be so tight that it buckles it, and I think 2 wraps will be plenty. Ooh, sticking to the adhesive. So let's take that to there. Because I've cut a piece off, if I wanted a third one, you don't have to go all the way across. You can just do them like that. But I think 2 is plenty. I think that's more than enough. So let's just Right, what we're going to do, I think we're going to use some foam tape. So you've got those bumps, so you've got to raise it up. If I try to put that flat on the card, it's going to have a lump where this is at the back. So I need two things I need to do. First one, I want to put a little bit more red liner over here to trap those ends in. So I'm going to put a little bit more over there. That means it definitely can't slip off. And then I'm going to get foam tape. And it's not the thickest foam tape ever. It's my normal one that I use. But it's just going to be enough to raise it up to at least the height of my string. And I think actually I might just do my normal vertical after that, because I do like vertical tape. I know there's a lot of foam tape, but it's better to have plenty on than not enough. So I've got another piece of white, and I'm just going to put the white on white. You might want to, you know, go straight in with a green. This one isn't big enough, but you know, the green looks really pretty too. But I think we're going to go, we haven't finished, but I'm just going to start assembling it. So remember, I always say it, remember to burnish. If you don't burnish, it doesn't peel off easily. So remember to do your burnishing. Row on. There we go. All the way off. Now this is definitely a case of putting your PVA on the back, because these two are pretty tight together. So let me find my PVA. Let's put some PVA on there. That's going on like that. That's going on there. Just like that. There we go. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Where did I put my card base? Here's my card base, and that's now going to go onto here. So I've gone a little bit bigger with the green layer, because I really think I wanted the green to pop, and I thought if I did it too fine it just wouldn't show up enough. So I've gone a little bit wider with that. Using linen card. Linen card I think is definitely one of my favourites. Pearlescent cards are lovely, but there's something special. There's something very, very luxurious about a linen card, I think. Put that on there. Right, and the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to, as tightly as I can, just pull those together. This is just a scrap of wool that I had. Actually, could I do it? No, I will do it with that. Go again, Corinne. Let's just pull those together, tie that, just to try and give it a little bit of shape. It's always good to put a little bit of glue on, because then it can't unravel. There we are, and I'm going to cut that as tight to there as I can. And then I'm going to come in with this lovely bow. Yeah, so let's get a little bit of 3D glue. We can put it onto here. And that will hopefully keep that in place. Get that gorgeous bow. It's all about sort of tones, isn't it, and shades. Let's try and get that. I want to see the bow. Now, when I inked that up, I did get a bit of green on the pearls, but it soon came off. Now I've ummed and ahed about what to do next, and I couldn't make up my mind. Oops, throwing everything around. I couldn't make up my mind whether to go with sort of red berries being Christmas, sort of that green and cream. So I put a little bit too much glue on there. I'm just getting rid of the bits that I don't want. I'm just sort of working it into the string a little bit so that everything goes together. Right. We can always separate those just a little bit. There we go. So I wasn't sure whether to go red, being festive, but then I thought, actually, I think a couple of pearls would look nice. So you can see I colour these a lot, because they will then match there. So I'm actually just going to go with 3 pearls like that. And that is what I'm going to do. I think that is so pretty. It's something a little bit different. Like I say, I was inspired by something I saw off Pinterest. So mine's a completely different version, different foliage. I've done mine on the right, whereas it was on the left because the person that did it obviously had leaves that went to the left. Well, went from the left to the right. Yeah, and they use different string. I think they use more of a twine. They use very white beads, didn't use the extras. You know, there's lots of different ways. You do what works for you and just take it as your inspiration. So I hope you like that. And that, I think, don't be surprised if another one does appear, but I think that is going to be my last Christmas card for 2025. I think after this one, we're going to need to go back into our regular cards, because if you are watching this for inspiration, then really you should have been, you're on the last lap for making your own Christmas cards. So I definitely think we've got a few to come now that will be regular cards after this. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Please watch whatever videos come up on the left, because I might do it for the last time, linking to the playlist for the Christmas ones, so that you've got the last bit of inspiration. But of course on the right will be the link for my subscribe button, and if you want to see what is coming next, then please make sure you click on that, and then you'll see lots more inspiration coming soon. And of course there's lots of links, including my buy me a coffee page, link down in the description. Yeah, I hope you like that. Please let me know what you think. Are you going to do that? This would look lovely with feathers. That's just come to me now. Feathers would look fantastic on this as well. Lots of different ideas. You don't have to use linen card. You use whatever works for you. So please let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Leave me a like. And I hope you have enjoyed the 2025 season of my Christmas cards. They've been quite a few of them. I've thoroughly enjoyed putting them together, and I hope that my friends and family enjoy receiving them, because they will all be going out very soon. So until my next project, my crafty friends, I'm going to leave you there, and I will be back very, very soon. So until then, you take care, and bye for now.